the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the Galactic Federation. Who are they and their incredible messages for us today. Yeah, let's just talk about who they are. First of all, they are an organization of extraterrestrial beings who are here in our best interest. They are really helping us through this ascension, this awakening, this transition of frequencies. And what's so interesting is how I got in contact with them was through deep states of meditation. In 2011 is when I first met them, so it has been some time. And what's really cool is there are actually declassified CIA documents of military remote viewers going over to the same exact mothership that I go and visit to gain access to all of my information. And there's been other remote viewing organizations that have also remote viewed the same Galactic Federation mothership. So what's really cool is that, hey, I'm not alone in this. I'm definitely not crazy, and this has been verified. You can go check that out online. I'm not gonna, send you all of the declassified documents, but it's out there. There are drawings of inside the ship. Not great drawings, but you can definitely check them out and see them for yourself. So I just got off of a Galactic Federation summit. Essentially, it's an hour where I remote view their mothership. And sometimes I ask questions, and sometimes I just show up and see what they have to say. And that was one of these times. I like to call it the Mystery Galactic Federation Summit. And wow, was it ever impactful? I mean, I think a lot of us had a really good cry at the end. It just got really emotional because this has been a really insane year, not just individually, but collectively. If you're not feeling it right now, then maybe you're going to feel it in the next couple of years, or maybe you've already been through it. And let's hope you don't have to really go deep for a little while, right? Now, if you want to call it an ego death, an existential crisis, a midlife crisis, or just a dark night of the soul, we are all getting to a place right now where we are revisiting these deep, dark places. We are revisiting the polarity. We are revisiting the challenges. And there's really good reason for that. So I've been really in it in 2025, but all of the messages from the Galactic Federation were really focused on polarity. They were focused on the division of frequencies. And a lot of their reminders were that it's okay to go to those dark places. In fact, we need to be revisiting those deep, dark densities right now in order to prepare ourselves for the transitions moving forward. So I've got some really key points that I'm going to go over. Obviously, if you want to see me remote view live and get to feel the process of how I do what I do, or you want to actually understand who the beings are that are channeling these messages, then go check out the most recent Galactic Federation Summit. It would be season 2025, episode 8. So go check that out. And other than that, just stay tuned for all of the information because I'm relaying some of the juiciest bits here. Okay, so one of the first things that came up was something called growth periods. And it was given to me as like a visual representation, almost looking like a star chart. Anyway, and so apparently what one of these beings was saying is that there are these periods in our life of growth, and we only grow through challenge, through turbulence, through suffering, through the dark densities, right? I mean, imagine this. Imagine you had all of the money in the world. Imagine you had all of the friends in the world. Imagine you had all of the emotional intelligence, all of the knowledge, all of the everything that you could ever have in this world. What's the point? What are you doing? How are you growing? How are you moving forward? You aren't, right? A lot of the reason why we forget who we are and we forget our past lives and we forget what we've already learned is to see just how good we are at remembering, to see just how quickly we can pick up on lessons we've learned before and apply ourselves to situations in an appropriate way. We forget so we can remember, so we can move. Challenge is growth and movement. And so, although they're called growth points, they're really challenging points in our life. Sometimes they're freak accidents or just random health crises or illnesses that we come down with. Sometimes it's the loss of your job or a change in your relationship or a move, a really big move. But these are challenges in our life that help us to move forward, to learn, and to grow. Now, what this being was saying is that in the past, we would have these growth points or these ego deaths or these existential crises, I don't know, once every 5 years, maybe once every 7 years. But right now, we've got this condensing of the growth points. We've got many growth points, many challenges, so much movement, so much density all at once. And that is for a reason. That's designed for a reason. One of the analogies that this being brought up was an elastic band. I don't know if this is going to make sense. It made sense to me, but essentially he was saying that there's like we're stretching the elastic band and all of the growth points, all of the challenges are within that tension point of the elastic band. And just as it's stretched to its limit, just as we think that we can't take or handle any more, right? The elastic band snaps and all of the density is removed and we transition into a higher frequency. We have to feel the lower vibrations. We have to feel the negative stuff. We have to feel the challenge. We have to feel the suffering. We have to feel the lack in order to better understand polarity here in this universe, not just on this planet, right? We are in a master class right now. We are in a PhD of experience. And in order to get to the next level, we have to pass the exam. And that's what we're in right now. We are truly in the exam of a lifetime. Doesn't mean that once we get past this, there's not going to be any more, but it definitely means that once we get past this, we're going to be strong enough to never have to go through this amount of density again. So maybe you have gone through it in the past couple years. Great. I'm hoping that you are through it. Maybe you're in it right now. Great. Be in it, and I'm going to help you navigate it with the other points here that they brought up. And maybe life is really good for you right now. And wow, incredible. I am so glad that you are there. And I was there like 8 months ago. So I get it and I feel you. And when you are there, it feels like nothing can touch me. I'm good. I can't even imagine or for a foreseeable challenge in the future. And then boom, it hits, right? So just keep in mind that anything can change. I mean, change is the only true constant in life. So we've got to be open-minded. We've got to expect the unexpected right now. And you might be in for a rug pull if you're not already deep in it. If you're already deep in it, I'm hoping this is it. I'm truly hoping once we get through this, it will be brighter on the other side. And I believe that. So please keep in mind that the growth periods are condensing and it is a lot all at once right now, and that's okay. It's designed like that for a reason to help us along in our transition. It's like everything we've ever learned is hitting us right now to see, have you really learned this? So yeah, the other thing that came up from a different being is that our cells, okay, this is at a cellular level, our cells are purging and creating illness, which I thought was really fascinating. So apparently, things like emotional traumas and even like past injuries, all of those things are being stored in our body. And apparently, up until recently, we were able to function properly without worry. And it's like we weren't even aware of the amount of stress and the amount of trauma that our bodies were holding. And now the veil between sort of sweeping everything under the rug and just sort of making out like everything's okay, that veil is really thin and we can no longer sweep things under the rug. You can think of it as like the rug is full, okay? There's no more sweeping under the rug. Now it's time for all of us to lift that rug and to vacuum out all of that crap, all of that dust, all right? And essentially, this is what this being was saying, is that all of the traumas that we've been holding, emotional traumas, or even physical injuries that we've been holding and storing in our body at a cellular level are all getting purged out right now. So if you're in the middle of some random illness or a freak accident or an emotional crisis, that's not just happening randomly. It's happening at this time to release itself from your body at a cellular level. So just keeping that in mind, that these are different beings talking about similar things in different ways. And this was the most important, most urgent information that we needed to know as human beings right now. So what do we do with this, right? Great, we're suffering. We're all suffering. This is fantastic. You're not alone. I'm not alone. We're all going through it. What's the advice? What do we do about this? There are 3 questions that we all need to be asking ourselves right now to better understand and better navigate the current dynamics. Okay, so please write these questions down. And then you can also respond to the questions in the live chat or in the comments below. First question is, what am I being challenged with? So simple. I think at a surface level, we can all very easily answer this. What am I being challenged with? Is it financial stuff? Is it family stuff? Is it work stuff? Is it your neighbors? Is it your own interpersonal dynamics? Is it childhood trauma? What are you being challenged with? Period, full stop. On a surface level, okay? Second question, super important. When have I been challenged with this before? Because like I said, and like these beings were saying, everything that's happening right now is not new. This is all old stuff coming to the surface, needing to be cleared and purged. When else in my life have I been challenged with this before? Maybe it's coming up as a family thing right now, but 10 years ago, it was a coworker thing. Maybe it's coming up as a financial thing right now, but 5 years ago, it was a job loss, right? It's lack, right? Whatever it is. Please, please, please start making the connections of your current present day challenges and past experiences. This is beyond important, because if you were to believe that right now, the traumas, the triggers, the reactions, the emotion, the suffering that you are facing is brand new, totally random, out of the blue, okay? If you were to believe that, what happens is we react to the trauma and we re-traumatize ourselves, therefore perpetuating the lesson. If we can connect the current trauma and the current challenge and the current trigger to the past, then what happens is we complete the cycle by seeing the whole picture. And when we can do that, we step outside of ourselves as the character. No, you're not just a mother. No, you're not just a neighbor. No, you're not just a husband. No, you're not just a wife. You're not just a whatever your identity or your role is that is triggering you right now, right? Take a look at the whole picture. So then the last question is, what am I learning? I see the challenge. I see the patterns. I'm making the connections. I'm taking a step back. Then what am I learning? What am I taking away from this? Not what am I still struggling with? What am I learning? What am I gaining access to through this experience? So, so important. All right, So there was another being that came through and she mentioned something super fascinating. I've actually never heard this before. I'm guessing that someone out there has used this term. I've personally never used this term. This being called it emotional fasting because I kind of said, okay, great. So we're in it. We are in this dark night of the soul. We are all sort of getting challenged and suffering and changing and transitioning and purging and all the things. What do we do about it? And one of her pieces of advice was to emotionally fast. And I said, I don't even know what that is. Like, I know what fasting is, I know what intermittent fasting is. I have no idea what emotional fasting is. And essentially, it's about taking a step back and gaining access to a perception from a place of objective observation. Objective observation is just neutrality. It's 0 point. Once again, you're not looking at it from the victim's perspective. You're not looking at it as the wife or as the neighbor or as the coworker or as the mother or the father or what have you. You're taking a look at it objectively, not personally, right? You are removing yourself from the situation and observing it. Now, of course, we can't stay in that place. We can't, because in order to move through something, you do have to allow yourself to be in it. So, one of the other beings suggested something. Well, I mean, I coined this term, but they were also recommending experiencing all levels of polarity, which means experience the love, experience the fear, and then the third level is experience the neutrality, objective observation. I call it, or I've coined the term, vibrational navigation, the ability to connect and subsequently disconnect from any aspect of your reality. And we can do this consciously. Now, I have many videos on vibrational navigation, so I'm not going to bore you with all of the details, but if that's something that you are interested in, you can go to my website to type in the search vibrational navigation, and there should be some stuff that pops up, okay? But that's really important. If you are in it, if you're in the challenge, be in the challenge, be in the experience, be in the emotion, but also find something grateful about it as well, you know? Sometimes having a perspective of, yeah, I'm really in this emotional situation, but I can still fill my fridge with food and I can still drink clean drinking water, and that's more to say than a lot of people in the world right now. So having a different perspective is also very key to gratitude and having that higher vibration, okay? And then it's also important to be like, whoa, in 5 years from now, I'm going to look back at this period and kind of laugh. This is ridiculous what's going on. And having that sort of objective, neutral perspective of your life right now. Okay. That's also really important. Just totally removing yourself emotionally from it. We also need to do this collectively. Yes, the world is going crazy and there's wars and there's famine and there's aliens that are going to invade and there's nuclear nukes being talked about and there's Trump. I mean, there's like a lot of things going on. Yeah, it's crazy, but try not to get sucked into the dramas of the planet, because all that's going to do is externalize your focus. And if we're externalizing our focus, then we're not actually manifesting and creating our individual reality. And if you don't have the current power to create your individual reality, then you're definitely not creating or helping to create any sort of profound, conscious, external, collective reality. If you can't do your own, then don't even worry about it. You're feeding into the matrix if you're feeding into these individual dramas, which actually leads me to my last point, okay? And this was actually what made me cry at the end of this Galactic Federation meeting. And I don't know why, it just struck me so deeply. I'm definitely not going to cry again on YouTube. But if you want to feel the impact of that, because apparently I wasn't the only one crying in that, then definitely check out that Galactic Federation Summit. But one of the final messages was that, believe it or not, despite the chaos ensuing collectively and individually, we are on the right track. And apparently, the way that they know we are collectively on the right track, despite the BS happening, is the impact of the individual. the individual transitioning, the individual evolving, and essentially the collective transition of frequencies, of density. And so apparently we're in a really good place. And they were saying that no matter what your belief is, no matter what your ego is going to agree to or reject, having a spiritual experience that goes outside of the boundary of what we've been taught and what we've been programmed, you can't unexperience that. You can't unsee that. Once you have a lucid dream, once you see a ghost for the first time, once you feel a connection to someone from that heart space, there's no unexperiencing that, no matter what your belief is trying to tell you. And so what's happening now is that everyone at an individual level is having these profound spiritual experiences, whether they be minor, like a lucid dream, or something really massive, like an alien abduction. It's changing the way we've been programmed. And apparently we're on the right track with things. And apparently it's got to get worse before it gets better. And that's where we're at right now. That elastic band is stretching, and the tensions are rising, and the density is getting even more dense. But eventually that elastic band will snap and things will shift. And apparently we're still looking at about the 2028 timeline to even the 2030 timeline as far as when we are going to get a little bit of reprieve. Hopefully, for those of you who are in it and you're going through it, and it's going to get better, right? If we confront things and we feel things and we're with them, we move through them a lot faster, right? So it's changing your perception, but it's not avoiding the emotions that go along with the challenge and the suffering. And finally, I just want to mention that, and this is what this being said that just really profoundly impacted me, is that we try and find love through external means. Now, obviously, if you're in a lower frequency, you're trying to find love or happiness or fulfillment through alcohol or drugs or gambling or buying stuff on Amazon, right? If you're a bit of a higher vibration, maybe you try and find love through the beauty in a blossoming flower, or that exchange that you had with your neighbor, or that puppy that you ran into on the street. But apparently all of that love is fake, right? Truly. Which is like, we need the reminder. We know, but we need it. We need to hear it. There is a true love. It's called unconditional love. And that love is not based on your children. It's not based on your economic status. It's not based on the house that you live in, or the car that you drive, or the way that you style your hair. It is not based on anything rooted in this physical reality. Unconditional love is a frequency that you have within yourself, because you are a fractal of source, right? And that's it. I mean, that's what the ascended master Jesus was able to do. He was able to understand that all of this is a game. Yeah, it's an illusion. It's a simulation. It is set up so that we can experience nothing and everything simultaneously, which is truly a masterclass. And what Jesus was able to do was to fully understand himself as a part, as a fractal of that source frequency. He was able to deprogram himself and reprogram himself to understand that without ego, without attachment, without identity, you can access everything. That things like gravity don't actually exist in the way that we've been taught. Things like time don't actually exist linearly, but yet simultaneously. So please, let go of the illusion. Let go of the attachment. Let go of the projection. Let go of the dramas. Let go of the emotions. Feel it all, experience it all. Yes, yes, absolutely. But take a moment to let it go too. And understand that you are none of it. And within that surrender, within that nothingness, you will find yourself, maybe for the first time ever. because you, my friend, you're all of it. You're everything. And it is time that we all start remembering the power we have within. If you enjoyed this video, definitely subscribe to the channel and share it with a friend. Bye for now.